Alright, hey everybody, me and Buster Green again, and I'm trying hard again. So, this video started out as another minor update on Gundam G-Quuuuux that I wasn't even committed to doing. Here's the original version of the video. Oh yay everybody, Gundam G-Quuuuux is getting simulcasted on Amazon Prime because of Studio Kara's outstanding locked-in deal with Amazon Prime. The first episode will air on April 8th, which is only a month away, yay! It's gonna be Kira! Okay, I can't do that voice for that long. Anyway, it does break from recent Gundam releases that have otherwise all been landing on Crunchyroll lately, but it makes sense because Studio Kara has an outstanding deal with Amazon Prime. But that's not what I'm actually talking about today. What I'm actually reacting to and what got me to make this video is I'm following up on this sort of bullshit article from Comic Book Resources. And yeah, we're going to talk about this. This article is kind of a nothing burger in terms of actual news, especially actual news affecting the anime industry. But it does have some ominous looming consequences for the industry, so that brings us to our question of the day. Is AI going to ruin anime dubs? Or more to the point, is Amazon trying to destroy voice actors? Alright, so here's a fun question for you guys. Who's your favorite American voice actor? Do you guys have one? Okay, I actually have one. I'm gonna give some random praise here to Richard Epcar. Epcar's the man. He's been like the voice of Jigen and Bato in like Ghost in the Shell, and I'm super loving what he did for the Lupin Part 2 dub on Toonami. And then since then, he's been very prolific in keeping the Lupin franchise alive in the US, albeit for his selfish sake of keeping himself employed. But hey, that's a win-win in my book because I used to have to dig through like a bootleg bin in Chinatown looking for old Lupin movies. Anyone remember Dragon at Doom? And now half the time they come out in movie theaters lately. So yeah, that's awesome for me. Now, there's lately been this weird movement in the US that seems to be really against voice actors, at least in terms of shutting down the job as like a profession that people can like pursue. And there's this whole separate conversation about this as it applies to video games, because a lot of voice actors work in video games, and that's like a whole separate industry. And meanwhile, AI tech bros really want to apparently make like semi-intelligent ChatGPT powered video game NPCs that will say creepy, inappropriate shit to children. But I'm not talking about that today. That's a whole separate conversation. Let's just talk about anime dubbing. So yeah, voice actors have kind of been a time-honored part of the acting profession, and the job as a whole seems to be suddenly attacked from mostly AI tech bros and mostly Amazon, and also from people who just don't think that voice acting and actual acting are like different jobs. But yeah, one of the biggest transgressions against the voice acting community right now is major roles in cartoon movies being frivolously replaced by Hollywood actors who don't always do the best job when they get those roles. Like, there's been a massive backlash against Chris Pratt landing various roles he's not quite cut out for. And similarly, Awkwafina has just kind of been in everything to the point where people are sick of her due to oversaturation. And they kind of feel like she's taking on lazy roles instead of roles where she really shines. And celebrities never even seriously did cartoon movies until like 30 years ago when Robin Williams crossed the line to do the genie in Aladdin. And then after the fact, Hollywood realized that, oh, you can make more money throwing in a memorable movie star to do the lead role in a cartoon. Like, I also remember people complaining about the high number of celebrity cameos in the most recent Transformers film that really added nothing to the movie. And on the flip side, possibly the biggest and only noticeable exception to this trend is Colleen O'Shaughnessy, the longtime voice actor of Tails, landing the role of Tails in the Sonic movie series. She's been voicing Tails in Sonic Boom, but she's been hugely successful in continuing to voice the character in the rapidly expanding Sonic cinematic universe, making her kind of the most successful mainstream voice actor of the day through this weird, like, glitch in the system. It's kind of weird when you really think about it, since every other major big character in the Sonic film series has had their voice actor replaced by a huge Hollywood movie star for clout. Like, the fact that the Sonic series seemingly did the right thing for Colleen here is so much of an oddity in the modern landscape that there is a pretty popular conspiracy theory now after the fact that Colleen got into the movies just by accident, as the producers threw in the Tails post-credit scene as a last-minute addition and just had her do the voice because she had already locked the role down in Sonic Boom. And now that I really think about it, that actually does make a little bit of sense, since the Sonic 2 and 3 post-credits revealing Shadow and Amy both had no dialogue, and their celebrity voice actors were only announced pretty last minute to hype up the movie when it came out. And we still don't know who's voicing Amy. No one's officially been cast yet, so that's a whole like separate mystery. Anyway, another story here. If you don't know me, I'm a struggling indie animator, and I've been struggling to make it as an indie animator for about 10 years now. And in those past 10 years, I've had some rivals and some assistants in the industry who are trying to basically do the same thing as me, make it as an indie animator. Sometimes working with me, sometimes against me. But what's funny is 10 years later, now that time has passed, I finished the pilot of my show, and these two rivals both quit animation only to later become successful voice actors in LA. I won't say who they are, but they're pretty big news. Anyway, over the years, it's definitely been a thing that people who wanted to make it in the animation industry have gone by taking on voice acting work, with some of them becoming more famous behind the mic than they ever were behind the pencil. Like, it just clicked for me last week recently that the voice actor for Zorak on Space Ghost was C. Martin Croker, the distinctive animator of most of the early low-budget, low-movement Adult Swim shows, and the main reason they don't make them like that anymore is because he died. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I already made that video. Let's get back to this comic book resource article that got me talking in the first place. So yeah, this article is kind of fear-mongering here, and it is semi-justified that on Wednesday, Amazon rolled out this AI dubbing program, and the fear-mongering here is that CBR is choosing to imply with their images that they might be using that in Gundam G-Quuuuux, but there's currently no evidence of that at this time. It's just a big implication here that Gundam G-Quuuuux is probably the biggest anime coming to Amazon this year. It's the biggest anime Amazon has had in a hot minute. And at the same time, Amazon is also rolling out this AI dubbing project right now. So yeah, you can connect the dots, but that's a pretty far stretch, and I have no reason to believe at this time that Amazon is actually planning to use AI to dub G-Quuuuux. They could do it. That would be a complete surprise to me, but I have no idea and no reason to suspect that they're planning to do it right now. If they actually were going to do it, I feel like that would be really big news, and we'd probably get more of a direct confirmation on it. That being said, I overall don't want them to dub Quacks with AI because everything I've seen of what Amazon's AI is doing implies to me that it will do a shitty job. I also want to say that a lot of Japanese citizens are, craftsmen, and because of that, they're usually against generative AI because it's anti-consumer, and I want to believe that they wouldn't go along with it unless there was substantial cash benefit to them accepting it, like if they were bribed off to accept it, That being said, ever since generative AI came onto the scene, AI voice dubbing has been this looming threat in the industry that people are very, very paranoid about. According to the news, if an AI listens to your voice for even a few seconds, it can instantly make a copy of your voice and basically get you to say anything. This has already turned into a legal dispute because Scarlett Johansson had her voice stolen by OpenAI's Sam Altman when she refused to work with him on an upcoming project, and he just wanted to use her because she was in that movie Her. And I'm not sure if this lawsuit has been concluded yet, but it is interesting that there are people in high up places trying to put a stop to this nonsense, but so far they're not really getting any traction. Like when AI first came out, does anyone remember those videos of Dio Brando's Japanese VA Takahito Koyasu singing Sinatra in perfect English?
And now the end is near.
Well, Dio perfect English. It's weird because Koyasu's Dio voice is a Japanese person doing a Japanese impression of what they think a very menacing British accent is like. But when you translate back to English with the AI, it still has that uniquely Japanese British accent on it. Whereas on the flip side, in the dub of JoJo's, Patrick Seitz played Dio, and alright, he didn't do it as British as he could have, but he at least does the lines in clear English with that sense of power and menacing. Now, anyway, back to Amazon's AI dubbing project. That's a whole separate thing, so let's talk about that. The project first was known about a year ago when Amazon dropped a major nuke on the voice acting community that they were going to stop paying voice actors to make audiobooks for Audible, and they were going to switch over to using AI to do it. And there was a huge scandal, a huge backlash at this time that a lot of people just were not having it. But, last year things were different and there was more protections against consumers and workers and all that. Anyway, supposedly Amazon heard the backlash and they backed down. So eventually Amazon backed down to this weird sort of temporary compromise where the voice actors would get access to the AI technology to turn themselves into AI, and therefore they could try out the AI to see if they made their jobs easier, and they still would get paid the full amount as if they actually voice acted it themselves. Now, supposedly no one cared, and I'm not sure how this actually panned out because Audible books are a thankless job, but I feel like overall there's a major difference between actually doing a job properly yourself versus just sucking your brain into a vacuum and having pre-generated crap come out the other side of the assembly line. I'm not sure if the situation has improved or gotten worse since then, but I know Amazon still has this long-term goal to like bust unions and lay off voice actors and replace them all with AI. So if anything, I think the compromise was just a temporary thing to try and calm people down. And now that, you know, motions in the economy have changed, they might be trying to seize on that again, which makes sense that, you know, what's going on right now. So back to what's in that CBR article about anime. It's not actually about anime. This article is just plagiarism that scraped data out of this Lifehacker article by Jake Peterson, and the original article is actually about the rollout of Amazon's AI dubbing project, which happened last Wednesday on 3 projects. So going over the original article, it seems like what happened is they advanced the AI that they were using to generate the Audible books, and it also honestly doesn't seem too far off from the original AI that was just generating Dio memes back when this all started. But so far the dubbing has only been experimented on for 3 movie projects, and currently Amazon is just experimenting with English to Spanish and Spanish to English. So if you speak Spanish, watch out. Amazon is trying to take your job. But yeah, so the first movie done was El Cid La Leyenda, a super minor documentary about a 16th century Spanish warlord. According to the Lifehacker article, the dubbing here is pretty average to bad. It's clearly done by an AI, and you can notice that. But since it is pretty much just your shovelware, put this on filler documentary, I'm guessing the catch here was that Amazon thought so few people would care about it that it was worth trying to experiment on it like this. They also mentioned that watching it was like watching a 2-hour documentary narrated by the TikTok AI voice, which sounds painful to me at least, especially when literally I know like dozens of struggling actors who would probably kill to voice a full documentary like this. The second AI project is actually an English film called Long Lost, a low-budget indie movie that they randomly dubbed with AI from English to Spanish. Now, supposedly the Spanish AI dub is very bad and just makes this bad movie seem even worse. The article mentions that the AI also really couldn't dub over any parts where the actors were screaming. I don't know how this goes, but I imagine it was just like, ah. It also mentions that there's a part in the film where a French character appears on screen for one scene, and the AI dub just fully ignores this character, having him still speak French to Spanish people, which feels like a glitch in the Matrix. It feels like something broke here and they didn't fix it, which is another thing that a proper human overseen dub would have dealt with properly. There was a third movie that was a Spanish drama dubbed into English called Mi Mama Laura, but apparently the Lifehacker dude wasn't able to track it down. So yeah, nothing to say there. But yeah, overall, this seems kind of fucked to me. Voice actors have always been some of the hardest working people in the industry. They don't always get glamorous jobs, but seeing how half-assed Amazon's AI dubbing program is starting off, I feel like this is something that people should be more vocally standing up against. Like, this is some real half-ass crap. Now, I admit, dubbing half-ass crap with half-ass crap is definitely an experiment, but shouldn't we demand and deserve better? I mean, I guess you could make an argument that these projects were so low budget and low stakes that they would probably never be properly dubbed otherwise, but it's still kind of fucked up when you think about the state of the industry, that there's not like an Oscar for best voice dubbing or best voice acting role, as apparently to the Academy Awards, voice acting is just acting where people don't see you, and there shouldn't be any difference in judging a voice actor against a normal actor. But that's bullshit, because the real difference is classism here. Most voice actors are white-collar workers getting by doing pharma commercials and audiobooks, whereas most film actors are millionaires with mansions and fucking Cybertrucks. I didn't get into it in this video, but there was another AI scandal about Crunchyroll laying off their subtitle translators to replace them with AI that was doing an erroneous and shitty job. But the flip side there was there were also a lot of internet chuds who were hate blasting the original translators for either going too soft on the pervy content or injecting weird unnecessary censorship, which is also kind of fucked. Anyway, that's a lose-lose situation. I don't want to get into that today, I just want to talk about what's pissing me off. And what's pissing me off is a billion-dollar company like Amazon, literally the richest company in the world, is trying to steal jobs from poor, struggling actors in the anime industry, which is the industry I work in. And also, think of how fucking boring anime cons will be if there's no more fucking voice dubbing actors anymore. It'll just be merch shops. Like, one of my favorite childhood memories is being stuck at a shitty anime con with Dirk Benedict from the A-Team trying to explain to him what the plot of Fullmetal Alchemist was. And I guess I'll follow up on this if there ever is a badly dubbed AI anime, but I don't think this should be a debate because, like, thinking back to the Lupin dub, Lupin was a show from the 70s, and it came back to life when it got a cool modern dub on Adult Swim, making it relevant again. So even if a project is old or low quality, there's always merit in having it dubbed properly by real people who give a damn. That's the problem with Amazon's AI. The AI doesn't give a damn, and then they roll out these Spanish dubs that are so full of errors and technical mistakes by people who also don't give a damn and also don't fix this shit. But what do you guys think? Leave a comment. Don't be disrespectful. If you suck up to Amazon, I'm calling you an Amazon bootlicker. Assholes will be punished. Good night.